and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to show you guys some of the upgrades I made to my hermit crab tank. Let's get started. One of the first things you might notice that I changed is instead of the 10 gallon, I set them up in the 40 gallon, which seems a little bit large, but they need to eventually size up as they go. And the 20 gallon, which is only a little bit more floor space than the 10 gallon I had, was the same price as the 40 gallon without the lid, and we had an extra terrarium lid at our house. So I chose the 40 gallon, and I ended up having to buy a lot more coconut substrate, and I switched out the sand from last time. Previously I had used the calcium like amphibian reptile sand, but I read some reviews online that that's not very good for them, that the more wet it gets, it turns into almost concrete. But they recommended get like play sand, something you'd put in a sandbox. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's. But you have to sanitize it. You put it in the oven at 350 for 30 minutes on a cookie sheet. So I baked a lot of sand yesterday getting this set up. I have a lot more sand in there than it looks like, I promise. So I switched to a 40 gallon, put a lot more substrate in. What are some of the other differences? One of the other things that has changed since last time is the shells that I ordered online came in the mail. When I measured them, I measured Rick, which is the little bit larger hermit crab, because Morty was buried and I thought that he was molting. So like I said, when you measure hermit crab shells, make sure they're in one that fits right, and you measure across here and then go up like 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. But because Morty's a little bit smaller than the hermit crab I measured, I bought 2 shells the same size as Rick, because sometimes they like to just switch between shells because this back part can be a little bit bigger or smaller depending, but this is the most important part to measure. Then I bought 2 shells 1/8 of an inch bigger than my larger hermit crab, and 1 shell 1/4 of an inch bigger than my larger hermit crab. So I sterilized these in boiling water, which was actually a lot harder than I thought that it would be. You boil them because mites go on the inside. So I would boil these, think that they're good, shake them and swish them around a lot, and then more stuff just kept coming out. These ones sterilized a lot better. This is just coconut substrate from their house. I had 1 shell that I really liked, but I was having a hard time sanitizing it and it smelled kind of weird. So I messaged the company and they sent me another one for free. I didn't have to return the first one. And so that one, it looks really cool. I'll have to show you later. Still needs to be boiled.
What?
I ordered all my new shells from the Naples Seashell Company, and actually those are really good. They have shells specifically for hermit crabs and tell you how to measure the spot across. See, these ones are all really beautiful. These aren't painted. These are the colors of the natural shell. It's like a very smooth, shiny white color. I got 3 of them are almost exactly the same, not in size, but in color. This is the other type of shell I ordered. It's more of a really pretty brown color, and it has a dolphin carved in the side. So because paint is toxic to hermit crabs, this is one of the alternatives, is that it's still the natural shell, but see, that's pretty. This is the one that I couldn't get to sanitize. It's kind of stinky. The new one I still have in this box. I'm just keeping it in here until I sanitize it tonight. Now I'm going to take you on a tour of the new hermit crab house. This is a side view of the hermit crab tank. I placed it underneath my desk because originally I had the 2 tanks on top. But this one is almost too large to have it on top, so I put it underneath. And also having the desk above it, I think it helps keep the humidity high. One of the things you might notice is that I now have 1 tank instead of 2. But the nice part is if one of them's molting on one side, I have enough bowls that I can place a divider right in the middle, and it would become almost 2 separate 20-gallon hermit crab terrariums. Starting from the left side, I put a fake plant in here to help with the humidity. I wanted to put a real plant in here, but I wasn't sure what was hermit crab safe. So this is a great start, but as time goes on, this is one of the things that I would replace. They have their coconut hut. One of their bowls, instead of having 2 saltwater bowls, one of the saltwater bowls I converted into holding carrots and lettuce so that it doesn't dirty their substrate. They have a couple eggshells over here. In the corner, I have this new thing that I'm trying. Because hermit crabs need such high humidity, in here is an aquarium air stone attached to aquarium tubing. And over here is the pump. And the pump and the air stone create bubbles which help release humidity into the air. I don't think this is strong enough right now as it is to provide enough daily humidity without help, so I am spraying down the tank and wetting the substrate still. And in here I have some of the small natural sponges and one of the shells that are too large because, like I said in my other video, that even though hermit crabs are semi-aquatic, that they can drown. So because this is made out of a Tupperware bowl, I worry about it being deep enough that they could crawl in and not crawl out. With the air stone, the shell, and the natural sponge, I'm no longer worrying about that. Moving sideways, I placed 2 bowls in here on 2 ends of the aquarium, just depending on where they are, that they can access it better. They have some of the shells that are more in their size. One of the other ways to help bring humidity up is to have balls of moss or sponges scattered around that are wet to help release humidity into the air. I read an article about keeping a wet moss inside one of the houses in a hermit crab house to help create humidity, but one of the hermit crabs went in there today and pulled it all out. Oh, you can see him in there. I think that one's Morty. And then moving across, this one is a freshwater bowl. I have filled it up just enough so I don't have to worry about them drowning in this one because the extra sponges are creating humidity right now. So this one is filled up very low and it has a ramp in it. This one is the other freshwater bowl that I have right now, and it is deeper and filled higher, so that one does have a natural sponge in it. They have some more eggshells for calcium, and this one is their saltwater bowl with a natural sponge in it. One of the additions that I just got, so this is a temperature meter and a humidity meter. And this is helpful to let you know how much humidity you have in your tank. With having a lot larger tank, I struggle more to keep the humidity up high enough for the hermit crabs. And for hermit crabs, their humidity needs to be in the green level. Usually me and Leo have a heater on, and that makes this go higher. Their heat right now is in an appropriate level. I can, since I have a large enough tank, put another dome light on top, and I do have another dome light for hermit crabs. But one of the difficulties is with 2 plugs, and one of them being used for humidity and the other one being used for a heat lamp, is I don't have any plugs near here. And with heat lamps like this, you should not plug them into extension cords because the risk of a fire increases because of the heat lamp putting off so much heat. So that's one of the things I will be figuring out next, but because we always have a heater on, their heat levels are high enough. This spray bottle I stole from my sister because she has a tree frog that also needs a lot of high humidity. But previously, I was using this smaller one for the 10-gallon to keep the humidity up, but I'd have to spray it a lot and fill this up a lot higher. And this would be almost impossible to use for humidity in the 40-gallon. So this one's in a lot larger spray bottle. but the spray is also a lot more powerful and a lot more water comes out. So this is one of the main ways I use humidity. And also reading an article I read that having the sand wet enough so it's kind of sandcastle-like consistency, it can stick together but it's not soaking, is really nice. And I've been experimenting with wetting the coconut substrate, but that's hard because it can mold. So I'm kind of dampening it, not wetting it, just getting it a little bit moist. One of the other things I think that I'm going to try is, they say like placing a wet towel on top of here is a good temporary solution for creating humidity. One of the things that I already have, but is not inside the hermit crab terrarium yet, is I have a roll of coconut substrate, kind of as a wall. Hermit crabs love to climb, but originally when I bought it, it came with Velcro strips to attach one side to the wall and one side to the hermit crab coconut substrate wall, and that was not staying up very well. And then we were kind of using duct tape, which I use as like the use-all in all of my terrariums, but because of the humidity, that was not working well. So my next step is figuring out a great way to attach that and have it stay sturdy, and that will go inside here in the hermit crab terrarium. Thank you for watching the video of my upgraded hermit crab terrarium. See you next time.